Welcome back to Daily DeFi. Today is March 16th of 2021, Tuesday. We're seeing the total value locked in decentralized finance at $42.31 billion, just a bit sideways. And we're seeing most altcoins drop, where three are performing quite well. So you have RSR, Reserve Rights, Origin, and WAN Chain, which is really interesting, WAN Chain. So that's what we're going to cover near the end. We'll also discuss Ethereum's top competitor, Avalanche, and how SushiSwap is actually coming to Avalanche. Quite interesting. Also, the Bitmex executive surrendering, not guilty. Okay, so back to this. Maker dominance is at around 16%. DeFi Pulse Index 427. If we look at some of these top coins, we're seeing everything's down. That's why I picked out these three to kind of show you, okay, which ones are kind of outperforming the market, which ones are kind of popping their head out and going, hey, we're going to perform well when everything else isn't. And then we're seeing negative 70%. 32 for NFT total volume over here on Juicy NFTs is 32,000, right around 33,000 actually. And then we move over here. So this is an interesting article. Bitmex, if you guys have ever used this exchange, essentially they're kind of a mix between a decentralized exchange and a centralized exchange. But since they're more centralized, they don't have these benefits that decentralized exchanges have. And one of those things is you have the CEO and co-owner Ben Dello, who can actually be accused of running it's like an unregistered exchange against like the U.S. anti-money laundering. That's essentially what they were being taken down for, but they plead not guilty. But think about it, like on something like Uniswap, you can't have anyone to go after, or something like Pangolin Exchange. You can't have someone to go after because it's fully decentralized. There's no one to go after. It's a user-driven protocol, and there's no way to shut it down. So, Ethereum's top decentralized exchange heads to rival Avalanche. SushiSwap is about to provide DeFi that devotes with a reason to use Avalanche. So, we've talked about Pangolin on this channel, but the problem with Pangolin is the token's only available on its individual exchange. So SushiSwap wouldn't necessarily be taking over Pangolin, rather providing more mass adoption. And in this case, Pangolin most likely would be available on SushiSwap now. So this would be interesting if it came into the Avalanche ecosystem, therefore bringing more adoption. And then people still are a bit jaded against SushiSwap since it did kind of have that minor rug pull, even though they provided all the tokens back. So if we're looking at the top DeFi coins, you're seeing pretty much everything's down. Terra Luna, I did want to skip for today just because we've covered that in past episodes. Obviously, that's performing well. If we look down, though, really the only one that's doing decent is RSR. And then we see, okay, Origin, which I find Origin really interesting. This token is, here, let's find it. It's around 40 in my, yeah. Okay, so Mirror Protocol is doing okay. But Origin, is doing pretty crazy. So if you don't know what this is, it's basically fractionalizing goods and services on the blockchain. So if you pay for a service, now you can fractionalize it and not have as high fees just for like buying one individual thing. So WAN chain is the other thing we can see here. Okay, so RSR, market cap 1 billion. This one's pretty crazy. 75, right around 8 cents. Pretty nice chart if we're looking at that. Nice little parabolic move up. I'm personally not buying right now, but I think this is a very interesting token. I did make a dedicated video on it in the past. And then we have Origin, OGN, rank 132, market cap 300 million, $1.16, up about 52%. Really, really like Origin. And then WAN chain is just kind of like, it's like one of these cross chain. I'm not a huge fan of this, but I did want to point it out just because it's performing quite well. So yeah, it's just like a distributed ledger. It's kind of like what a lot of projects are aiming at. I just think there's a lot of other better ones out there. But if you know anything about WAN chain, let me know like in detail. I'm probably not going to do a dedicated video on it just because again, there's so many of these out here. Like there's probably 10 other ones that I would pick from. WAN chain would be like number 13 most likely. So market cap to about 200 million, volume pretty low. Yeah, so that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments down below what you want to see covered tomorrow. Let me know what you think about this, the Bitmex guy and this SushiSwap coming to Avalanche to kind of move, I guess, mass adoption forward. And then about these three tokens, Origin, Reserve Rights, and WAN chain. As always, like, subscribe button all, invest global, and until